Well, the news is coming out fast and furiously after an incident last night at NFL headquarters where a lunatic went in and did terrible things. We now have a timeline of everything that had happened. We have his name, which I talked about last night in a video. We have information. We have a writings, his letter to share with you. I just want to point out, a lot of people choose not to report on these things because they don't want to make these losers famous. I totally respect that. But I also think in an era of so much misinformation and, the mainstream media, like CNN getting absolutely eviscerated last night for calling him white, somebody's got to be out there that's going to actually report on the truth of the matter. I hope this guy, gets the strictest possible penalty that that the Lord decides. He's a loser. He everything's bad about him, but this is about everything else. And so I hope people understand that's why I cover this stuff. Now he did leave a note. Let's go to the timeline first, because I want to break down the actual timeline of what happened, because that's probably the most important. So first of all, he goes to 345 Park Avenue, NYC, ending up on floor 33. Now, a lot of people are saying 33, there's something tied with that. I don't know. I'm not plugged into that. I don't know what that means, but people are discussing it. I will say this. He did make one critical error, first of all. He got on the wrong elevator. The elevator that he got on did not go to the destination he wanted to be at, because he actually wanted to go to the NFL headquarters, and he ended up in the wrong business altogether. People call 911. Shane Tumor of Las Vegas enters the lobby, where he takes out an NYPD officer. I'm told in the back, like a real hero. I'm talking about the loser who did it. Security guard hiding behind a pillar. No, that's not really doing your job, but I guess. And then another male all in the lobby. Then he called an elevator, and a woman was in it, and he let her go, which is odd. He goes directly to floor 33. He begins spraying around on there. Then he walks down the hallway and takes himself out. A woman on the 33rd floor also did not survive. One interesting thing they talk about is he was heavily medicated, or he had medication with him, and he has a mental health history, in the past. And he also had we have a lot to talk about. So he drove across country from New York City to New York City from Las Vegas over the past couple of days. So he had obviously planned this. NYPD said there was medication in his name found in the vehicle. It has a history of mental illness. The medication found should be made public. Almost certainly it's going to be an SSRI. And, RFK has talked about how many people who carry this stuff out, possibly being on this stuff.
Between 51st and 52nd Streets, carrying an M4 rifle in his right hand, he walks towards the building's entrance. That individual was seen exiting the BMW alone.
Now, exiting the alone thing, there happened to be two other people who were like screaming "Free Palestine." I guess they were just unrelated. I don't know. Right now, the investigation has said that he acted alone, and that they were just happened to be run-of-the-mill weirdo Free Palestine people that were in the area at the time and happened to be getting arrested. I don't know if the cops arrested them because they weren't sure if they were together or what the case was.
Building security camera footage shows the shooter enter the lobby, turn right, and immediately open.
Well, I'm not going to go through what he did because,
345 Park Avenue is a commercial office building whose tenants include the NFL, Rudin Management, KPMG, and Blackstone. At this time, 4 of the 5 victims are deceased, including our NYPD cop. Our officer was transported here to New York Presbyterian along with one of the entire building. I want to be very clear. We believe this to be a lone shooter, and there is no longer an active threat to the public. But today, 4 innocent victims.
So here's the weird thing. This is one thing that, okay. So authorities in New York City say Shane Tomura was trying to target the NFL headquarters, but took the wrong elevator. He was found with a letter on his body indicating that he had grievances with the NFL and its handling of CTE, or chronic traumatic, I can't pronounce it, encephalopathy, and it's from getting a bunch of head, trauma over and over again. From a preliminary investigation, he took the wrong elevator bank up to the NFL headquarters. Instead, he took them to Rudin Management, and that's where he carried out his additional attack. He traveled from his home in Las Vegas in his black BMW, passing through. Who bought him a black BMW? He took. I want to find the letter. I had the letter in a different window. Here. His 3-page note include parts. Terry Long football gave me CTE, and it's caused me to drink a gallon of antifreeze. You can't go against the NFL. They'll squash you, according to CNN, which we're going to talk about, who got ruthlessly crushed last night, too. Mayor Eric Adams on Tuesday confirmed the note. The 27-year-old was likely referring to former Pittsburgh Steelers football player Terry Long, who was diagnosed with CTE and passed away after drinking a gallon of antifreeze. CTE, or chronic traumatic, I'm going to pronounce it again, is an Alzheimer's-like disease that is most commonly associated with football players, as it occurs with repetitive hits to the head, even without a concussion. The NFL, or NFL National Football League, has been criticized for having not done enough to prevent CTE and taking care of the players who suffer from it. He said, then he also reportedly played high school football, probably not enough to get CTE. Study my brain, please. I'm sorry. The note also reportedly reads, police say he had a history of mental illness, but are still investigating his motives. I mean, I'm pretty sure we know what his motive is now. Here's the other stuff. He claimed to suffer from CTE, and he had scrawled, quote, frontline documentary on one of the pages, an apparent reference to the League of Denial documentary that probed the links between the NFL's brain injuries linked to head trauma. The note also made mention of the Fanaru brothers, the 2 ESPN reporters who co-wrote the League of Denial book, the names of several doctors who were featured on one page, including Dr. Ann McKee, who is the chief of neuropathology at BU Alzheimer's Disease Research Center, and Dr. Christopher Nowinski, the co-founder of Boston University's CTE Center. Also in the ramblings, Tomura blamed, here's a picture of it, for his apparent struggle with CTE, his neurodegenerative disease, chronic traumatic, he says he has CTE, and begged for his brain to be studied in the wake of the incident. He also name-checked Terry Long, former football player. Here you have these writings, which seem to be written on, like, I don't know, like, he just has their names written down. Thank you, Frontline Documentary. The league knowingly concealed the dangers to our brains to maximize profits. He said here, you can't go against the NFL. They'll squash you. Please study my brain for CTE. I mean, he didn't have CTE, you know. He also offered an apology note writing, tell Rick, I'm sorry for everything. So I don't know who Rick is. Maybe it's his boyfriend or his dad. I don't know. You know, we're still going through the note to zero on the exact reason, but it appears as though it's something attached to his belief that he experienced CTE from the NFL, even though he never played in the NFL. Despite suggesting he suffered from CTE from playing in the NFL, Timur only played high school football in California. He believed to have suffered at least 2 mental health incidents, both in 2022 and 2024. I don't know what those incidents mean. Does that mean he was jailed? Was he 5150'd? What does that mean? They believe Timur had been trying to get into the NFL offices on the building's lower floors when he stormed in the lobby. Chilling surveillance video captured him. I'm not going to show that. He also mistakenly took the wrong elevator. I do want to give a shout out to these ultimate Chads who, there's some pictures floating around of, I'm certain that men did this. Here's the picture. There's a deep lesson, this barricade, about the competence of how effectively Blackstone employees barricaded their office in mere minutes. Look at this. I mean, look at the barricade that they put up. Every single piece of furniture, every stacked to the ceiling. And they did this in just minutes. This has to be some level of training. Like, this dude was not getting in there. So whoever was involved in this barricade, this is, I think the lesson is more along the lines of you can barricade a door pretty easily with a room full of adult men and a surprising number of couches for furniture. This, bunch of nothing would not have done nothing to stop ammo. This is theater. A grown man's pillow fort. Wrong. This guy was not going to be able to open this door. He was not going to open the door. And then CNN getting absolutely lambasted. CNN anchor Aaron Burnett blasted for describing NYC lunatic as possibly white. CNN anchor Aaron Burnett is facing scrutiny after describing this loser as white, despite surveillance footage showing he was clearly not. Burnett angered some on social media on Monday night after describing Shane Tamura as white. Now, he is light, like black Japanese. I think that's a rare breed these days. But anyway, images of him, although some said that his race was irrelevant, others said Burnett was premature in her assessment on air. I mean, he's definitely not white. You can see he's very clearly black. And she got absolutely crushed. Absolutely crushed.
Corridor and have this person slip out with them. So yes, they have the picture, and they have distributed to everybody on the scene.
All right. John, stay with me. I know you're obviously getting information here in real time as we're talking. Shimon back with us on the phone on the scene. Shimon, you're here. John's reporting that they do know what he looks like. Male, possibly white, mustache, sunglasses.
Possibly white. No, nobody thought this guy was white at any point. I'm glad he's gone. I'm so sorry to those that, did not survive that day, and screw the media for their horrible job at covering this nonsense. I hope you're informed by this video. If you were, please do leave a like on it. If you haven't yet, please subscribe or follow down below, and we'll talk to you again real soon.